Guys, the first thing I want to say is happy Juneteenth. BLM, do you guys know what that stands for?
I don't want to know.
Sir, I think you should be inclusive in this podcast. It stands for Butt Licks Matter.
Butt licks get you a long way.
They really do. Hey, man. Listen, I'll lick a butt, but I don't want my butt licked, man. You know what I mean? Can I tell you this story just really quick?
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
Let it fly.
I might as well. All right.
This is how it works.
So
But she licked her butt.
She did. So she was kind of like a freaky chick. You wouldn't think that, but she was like, one day she's like, I want to lick your butt. I'm like, oh shit, what? That's weird. I never thought I would get my butt licked. And so I remember a friend in high school tells me, he asked me if I ever got my butt licked. No, man, that's weird. I don't want to get my butt licked. I lick butts. I don't want to get my butt licked. But he's like, don't knock it before you try it. So now, as she's telling me I want to lick your butt, I'm thinking...
About your boy?
Yeah, I'm thinking about my boy. Like, don't knock it before you try it, man. Don't knock it before you try it. So, we're getting intimate, whatever. Pop a boner. She's like, all right, it's time. She lifts my legs up, like, all the fuck, both legs up. And she licks my butt, and it tickled so much, it made me fucking giggle, and I lost my boner.
Hi, welcome to the Modern Waiter Podcast. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter, where we discuss all things restaurant business. Learn something. Laugh at something. On today's episode, it's how a restaurant order actually comes to life with Chef Chris Boyd. But first, the intro.
Tired of working deadbeat jobs for lame pay. I'm tired of getting fired and hired the same day. If you know the rules of the game, then you'll stay. And if you don't...
As usual, I'm joined by my good friend Danny DeVilla.
What's up, people?
We just had the best intro. I don't know if we can use it or not, but we're going to keep on flowing. Thank you so much for breaking the ice, BLM.
Bro.
My friend.
What's up, brother?
If you guys ever seen the movie Powder, it's a great 90s film.
Yes.
If you could put up a side-by-side, I call Marlon Cocoa Powder.
Early in our friendship, Chef said, I don't know if I should say this or not, but you remind me of this movie. I said, what movie, man? I'm thinking, what Denzel movie did I
right.
About,
No,
He's like,
it's
just
White
watch,
Man.
yeah. That's albino. Watch the movie Powder and get back to me. I come back and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
It was a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. And so...
I'm crying already. We haven't even really started. This is nuts. I love it.
we're going to have to try to land this chopper somehow.
All right. I'll quit talking till you ask me a question.
No.
The winds are... You remember the movie, of course you do, Wolf of Wall Street.
Of course.
When the pilot lets him fly the chopper.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, great landing. Meanwhile, he just slams it down the ground. So we're going to talk about the process and what happens behind the curtains when you order something with your waiter. The waiter takes it back to this imaginary place, and then out comes food. Mm-hmm. Chef is in the middle of all of that, and we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, fuck you guys first of all.
I
Fuck you
know.
guys with your fucking magic tricks. I don't like them.
I overhear some wild requests coming through, and I'm like, man, I wouldn't even do that. Phil comes back with some stuff. I'm like, what are you thinking, bro?
Yeah, I've seen people's they'll type it in.
Yeah,
And I'll be like, who did that?
So
I can make sure I can go smack them, because I will make sure I never see that guest in my section.
Oh no,
because they can't have it from me.
Once the guest, it goes sideways.
Yeah.
He had a guest that didn't want. We have an 8-minute egg on the one of our salads.
Okay.
Chef doesn't do the salads, but
8-minute egg, if you don't know, it's just a medium boiled egg.
Okay.
So it's not too soft. It's not hard all the way done. It's medium. You got not necessarily a runny yolk, but it's not cooked all the way through.
Got you.
And my man comes back and says, He wants a hard-boiled egg. Now, all the eggs are done. It takes 13 minutes plus the boil to make a hard-boiled egg, at least the way I do it.
Right.
Then you got to prep the... I mean, you're talking about like a half-hour salad here.
Yeah.
You know? And he comes... Okay, you got to cut that off.
Yeah.
So I can't even only imagine the stuff that you have to deal with.
Well, honestly, there's easy fixes. Let's say you put an order in and it's modified. There's stuff that is doable on the spot, and there's stuff that is not. And when it comes to the stuff that is not, trying to explain that to the waiter, sometimes, not always, it can start like an argument, which is not needed in...
Especially in the middle of a rush.
In the middle of a rush, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're slowed down, and that trickle effect affects everyone in the restaurant, from the kitchen to the waiter to the person waiting for that food.
Absolutely.
So if it's just a couple a night, okay, no one really feels it. But if it's a busy night, or even a moderate night, but then so many modifications come in, you try to appease everyone, you end up pissing off more people.
Yes.
And my view on it, being a chef, I've been doing this almost 20 years now, and I come with it at like the artistic side of things. I have a very creative, artistic way of thinking, but when it comes to like numbers and stuff, that I'm lost with that. Okay. So I'm like purely artist. So when it comes to modifying my food, I don't like it because I think that the guest should come in for an experience that the chef is giving them, rather than do whatever.
Rather than make me a bicycle clown.
Correct.
In full disclosure, Chris is also an artist. He makes music. We were talking about it before the show started.
Yes.
He actually has music tattooed on it.
Yeah, I got
and I really love it. I'm just noticing
broken
that.
cello, a music staff with my initials CB. I got a mandolin there.
I dig it the most.
Okay, so barring the part where you go into the numbers, artistically, creatively, briefly tell us, or the audience, what ends up happening when you create the menu. First, we're talking about menu creation, then we're going to talk about destroying it with your modifications and all the bullshit.
Absolutely.
And then I have some fun stuff at the end.
All right, at least for me specifically, I'm best at kind of like the blind box challenge, if you will. You know, like on
like a Top Chef type of
thing?
like
on a Top Chef kind of thing. You get a box, you don't know what's in it. You open it and you're like, okay, what do I do with this?
Love it.
So that's where my mind, it just goes, and I'll hit one idea and it'll start branching, and then the next thing I just got to look at something and it'll remind me of something else, and then all of a sudden I got 10 ideas in my head that I could kind of play with.
Okay.
Really, what I was just talking about is more like doing specials. Like,
for sure. For sure.
Yeah, because like every day you come in, at least at our restaurant, we maybe do a new special every other day or run a special through the weekend. It usually lasts no more than 3 days, and that's like a long amount of time for one special. But some days I'll just get in there, you know, I'm doing all the other prep on top of it, and I got to come up with this special, and it's just quick fire. Okay, I see this, I see that, I can put them together. And some of them come out really nice, but there's one that I even agree with the servers that sucked. I did a congee with black rice. A congee is a rice porridge. You know, there's Chinese, Korean, Japanese versions. It's just a rice porridge, and I shouldn't have done it with the black rice. It just looked like black tar on a plate, and at that point, you don't even want to try it.
Well, I mean, you gave us a lot of content with the congee.
Yeah.
So that
I'm still hearing about it today.
Yes,
It's like 2
you
years
are.
later.
Yes, you are. You seem to have this artistic nature for sure, and when it comes out to disseminate it to the rest of us, we have trouble sometimes receiving it the way that you've conjured it.
Right. By that point, everyone's in my way. I got 30 things to do plus a special. So by the time pre-shift, we got to be on time for pre-shift. and then I'm trying to make you guys a special to show you. By that time, I'm so annoyed that I'm just like, this is what it is. Fucking sell it. Fuck you guys. I need to go back there. I got 80 more things to do.
I got a bunch of shit.
So, it doesn't always, I always try to stay lighthearted in the kitchen, even though I'm sure sometimes it seems that I'm annoyed or something, but I try to roll everything off. That's easier said than done. Everything off my back. If you don't keep a positive mind in the kitchen,
it'll eat you alive.
It'll eat you alive.
Eat you alive.
How do you personally prepare for a busy night of service? Like you mentioned prep. Like what?
Right. It's just never ending. It's never ending. It's literally days can go into it. So obviously with the bigger menu, the more prep you gotta do, the more items you have to prep, the faster you have to do it. Unfortunately, the quality will always go down a step.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
There's just so many items. If you walk into that walk-in, it looks like an unorganized mess, but it's really like an organized chaos. Like me.
Is it your organized chaos?
Not exactly. I had to get used to it. Like everything kind of has its place, whether it's prepped sauces or just regular prep like crab cakes or the galettes we do. A galette is like a predecessor to the pie.
Gotcha.
By the way, it's like an open face pie. To fish, raw meat products, they all have their place, but you go in there and if you don't know what you're looking at, it just kind of looks like everything is
it's all in the same
everywhere.
place. Yeah, exactly.
So let's just say there's 30 things on the menu.
Yeah.
One item on average will have, I don't know, 6 different steps, a sauce, a this, a that, put
a side, veggie, all
right,
that. All
and it's all
yeah.
regarding the walk-in. It's so many prep items, small walk-in,
True.
and now you're just trying to find a space to shove the next thing in there.
Do we have any items that come cross stations that you rely on this station to do this and then you finish it, or?
So a good example is the lobster tail, stuffed lobster tail. It's in the oven station where Sonny is. We just do grouper lobster lamb there. And then on the grill station, grill/back expo, which is where I'm usually at, he'll pass me the lobster, I'll plate it. So he has to pass 2 other stations to give me the lobster. So the goal in the kitchen is to reduce that. You don't want too much crossing of stations.
Yeah.
But inevitably, in every kitchen,
there's going to be certain things you got to cross. Yeah,
you got to cross some things. Other than that, I mean, there's like mahi. It's cooked on the flat top. We all call it pan-seared. It's really flat top seared.
Yeah.
I guess if you look at it, it's a big
pan.
It's a big pan.
But the mahi from the flat top crosses my station to the saute station, and is then put out through there. So obviously, the more steps that you have for that dish is going to be put on your station. If there's like 1 or 2 things that come from another station, it is what it is. But like I said, we're all a team back there, and even though sometimes things get heated, we all realize that we're one unit.
I mean, in battle, in war, things get heated. As long as you recoup and you get it back to normal, you're good to go.
Right, and that the part of being a leader back there is, everyone's high tension and keeping the peace and almost keeping, at least for the way I like to do, is try to keep a smile on their face.
Absolutely.
So the shit that comes out of my mouth is sometimes fucking crazy.
I mean, but we started the show with it. It was great.
Yeah, it's all like, I mean, some people might, if you don't know me or the dynamic of who I'm speaking to, might think, oh, he's being racist or he's a fucking far right Trump supporter, which Trump 2024. But it's all in the sense of keeping us unified and trying to keep a laugh. You know, I'm always joking back there. Like, I'll get heated for a second, but I'm never mad. Maybe that went too far. If I get mad,
It's never for too long.
it's never for too long, and then I reset with like a joke or something.
Gotcha.
That's just the way I am. Obviously, every chef is different.
True.
But I think it's important to keep laughs, smiles back there.
So, take us through the steps now. The server gets the order, rings it in. There's a printer or printers. What happens when you receive an order? Busy or not? Like, take us through that.
So every kitchen's different. The one we work in, we get like the main ticket on the grill/back expo.
Okay.
And then we have the app station that gets their own tickets.
Okay.
We recently changed our POS system, so everything's starting to fall in place a little bit more now.
It was a disaster in the beginning, wasn't it?
It was just
It's okay. I'm going through the same thing.
It was just it was just a change, so you have to be adaptable, right? So everyone's complaining about the damn POS. Everyone's complaining about the damn POS, and I'm sitting there just expecting
It to crash.
Right. So, but I'm good with rolling with the punches. So like I can't change it.
No.
This is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It'll take a few weeks to get it more up to speed, but in the end of the day, we got to get the food out. But going back to your question, I'll get the main expo ticket, and I'll call everything out, whether the apps get it or not. So then there's 3 other stations that don't get tickets. So this kitchen is a lot of, okay, I'm hearing what you're saying. I got to memorize what I have.
Yeah.
So you call.
Modifications,
Okay.
Throw that all off.
we'll throw that all off.
That makes sense. So you're calling the ticket comes in, you're the main, and then you're calling out who has to do what and counts all day, things like that.
Right, and not to mention that
So they don't have any visual. So like your saute, your grill, and your flat, they don't have any
Flat
visual.
has no. I mean, Flat's next to me, so he can kind of poke his head in.
Okay.
Same with Saute, and then App gets their ticket. They have it kind of right in front of them, and then they kind of share tickets with the oven station.
Okay. But still, not everybody gets like if it was one specific thing for the grill, they don't have their own ticket.
Correct.
I got you.
So
That's a lot too, especially when you get like you said when you get special instructions and stuff like that.
Well, I could definitely say it takes practice for everyone back there.
Yeah.
And not to mention that, not everyone, English isn't their first language, whether it's Creole
It's a kitchen.
or Spanish.
Absolutely.
And now trying to say the modification to them and make sure it goes out the way correctly is always a challenge because you always have to repeat yourself. Not to mention, I'm working the station too. You guys are in the front are trying to, hey chef, you're trying to talk to me. The guys back there are trying to talk to me. I'm not trying to burn your fucking steaks or pork chop or whatever I'm cooking on the grill.
Just tell them you hate them. It's okay.
I'm fully aware.
It's the life I've chosen.
Yeah,
so
none of
I
this is
accept
complaining, really. It's just a matter of getting it done. But I find the reason why we do the show is to really, I can be educated on things that I don't know. I started out in the kitchen. My first job was Bennigan's. I was a fry cook. I did.
They had what's that? The sandwich, the fried.
The Monte Cristo, baby.
Monte Cristo. There it is. That's what I remember Bennigan's for.
Yes, it was a great, terrible sandwich. I made that. I actually ate that before I made it, and once I made it, I stopped eating it.
Really?
Oh my God, that thing is fried on fried, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just 2 pieces of French toast as the sandwich bread, and sometimes it's an actual battered and fried sandwich. I forget how it was there.
For us, it was a club sandwich And then the prep was you had to cut it in half and then
dip
wrap it up the night before so it holds together. Because if you
Right.
make a fresh sandwich, that thing's going to be all over
Yeah.
the place.
Right.
So it stays together. Then you get the order, you take it out, then you batter it and, fry it.
So you did put it in the fryer.
Yeah, you did put it
Gotcha.
in the fryer. And then you cut that in half so you have the
So now you have 4 pieces?
now you have 4 pieces. Side of fries, powdered sugar on top, plus a side of raspberry
That sounds like a heart
preserves.
attack.
Dude, it was so good. If you're going out drinking, that'll hold
it's a
you
good
down.
good hangover sandwich.
Yes, man, that
Sounds
holds you
like it.
down. It's delicious. Don't get me wrong, but it existed in a time where you didn't care about
Yeah.
we were country frying stuff,
Yeah, you
chicken
didn't
fried stuff, and
Well, look at me, man. I'll eat that shit.
I mean, it's a part of it though. You're eating these things it's just to me hyper engineered to be delicious.
Yeah.
You have your sugars, you have your salts, you have your cured meats. What's it? Ham, turkey.
Is there bacon in it too?
I think it's
I
just.
think so. I think it's a regular club with.
I
That's
thought
just
it was
deep
just
fried.
ham and turkey.
No,
Could be
it
wrong.
was 3 layers at least. But I don't think there's one way to make a Monte Cristo. That's
Right.
just the way that we did.
Correct.
And so getting to the point of crustaceans, when I worked salad for a while, we had a steak salad. And we all know in the kitchen, there's no grill next to any
No.
salad station.
Ever.
Right.
So when it came time for the meat to come down to me, it was never passed through the 3 stations. It was tossed. And guess who's not going to catch a hot piece of meat? This guy. So half the time that thing ended up on the floor. Pick it up, cut it. This is a long time ago, people.
I'll tell you right now. If you go out to restaurants, you've eaten something that's hit the floor.
For sure.
Oh yeah, we're not doubting that.
I mean, we go out to restaurants too, and I just, God made dirt, it don't hurt. You just
Right.
roll with it.
I mean, some people really care, and some people, don't care as much. I could drop my steak on that floor and pick it up, cut it myself, and eat it. But I'm just, so used to the kitchen. It's just another day.
I think we make a judgment call. Like if you can't get away with it, I don't think you try to really fudge it. If it takes
Yeah.
a lot of effort to,
Well, I'm pretty sure, the Serve Safe book, it says under 20 seconds is good.
20 seconds.
Well, it
I thought it was the 5-second rule.
starts with
3.
5-second rule, but sometimes you gotta switch to the 10, and sometimes you gotta switch to the 20.
Depending on how busy you are.
That's right.
Tell me about something that recently that went wrong during a service and how you handled it.
Something recently that went wrong. I would have to say almost every day something goes wrong, and then you just kind of maneuver around it. But something that sticks out to me, it's so often that I'm not getting.
Your nose blind to it.
Yeah, I really am.
That's just Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever messed up and felt bad about it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah,
us
of
about
course, because it's my most at least half that menu is my creations, right? So
Okay.
if let's say we're busy and someone ordered the special or whatever, I got 15 things cooking on that small grill, and someone talks to me and I burn a steak or whatever. I can't restart that. Well, I can, but now if I restart that steak, the front of the house is going to constantly be bugging me, where's my steak?
Yeah.
Okay. So you send it out.
So sometimes if it's not too bad, try to send it out, see what happens. And sometimes I get away with it.
So no, you don't.
Sometimes you don't. Obviously, the goal is to send out the best product that you can, but it's just infeasible sometimes. Trying to, play nice with the waiters, and because, okay, I'll tell you this. A lot of times, at the end of the night, let's say it's 9 o'clock. We close at 10. All night before that, we're more or less sandbagging some fish that we're able to sandbag. If you don't know what sandbagging is, that means
Cooking it
kind of
and then throwing it on
holding
when,
it.
yeah, exactly.
Right. So like a grouper or a lobster that takes 15 minutes in the oven to cook,
You'll saute it for like 5 minutes real quick.
We'll get an order fire,
Yeah.
which we don't like,
Mm-hmm.
and then we could send it out immediately. At the end of the night, we don't sandbag, we cook to order, and then the ticket will come in, it's fired 5 minutes later, that fish still has 10 minutes to cook before even plating it, so that's another, 2-3 minutes of plating.
So 25 minutes.
More or less,
Yeah.
and then the waiters are at the end of their night. They've already calculated the money they make. They want to leave. Where's my food? And sometimes that's multiple waiters at a time. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's not an issue, and sometimes it's a big issue, and it starts an argument between the front and the back. And then I have to re-explain. At the end of the night, we don't sandbag your fish. We're cooking it to order to give them the best possible product, and they just can't goddamn wait.
They're gonna have to learn.
Cooking is all about patience. But restaurants, at least in America, is all about fucking speed and getting your food out fast. So obviously you have to find the balance.
True,
It
absolutely.
can't take too long. It can't be too quick. And just saying this for the audience, when we sandbag a lot of stuff, that food's going out quick.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're sitting on a fish for an hour and then selling it to you. It's like maybe
You're in the middle of the rush. You're moving along.
Right.
You pre-prepped it so it can come out faster because
correct.
you were stuck in the middle of that rush.
Like you cook it 90% of the way, it's fired. Okay, you cook it
finish
the other 10%,
Yeah.
and then play it. You sell it. So it's not like you're I wouldn't say never, because sometimes it's over sandbagged and then you don't want to lose the money on it, so you try and sell it. That's another part of, okay, if I feel bad about the food going out, it also depends on how tired I am, on how bad I feel.
I mean, we talk about it here on the show all the time, where art meets commerce. A lot of patrons, they never, obviously it's not their business to know.
No, exactly.
But it's our responsibility to the restaurant to make money. So they just think that, they could take a bite of something and, it's made perfectly. And they say, can I try? They just use it as some kind of, food slot machine that they could just try and pull the handle and something else comes out. But it
doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way. And there's a consequence to that.
Absolutely.
Restaurants close left and right. You lose your margins. And like you said, it affects real people,
Mm-hmm.
And so talk to me a little bit more about that relationship between the front of the house and the back of the house. At times it could feel contentious, but we're all professionals and, nothing is really...
We're all professionals.
I mean, we are.
We know service bitch all the goddamn time. Okay, we talk about him all the time, but
but it doesn't mean that everything has to be, arm in arm.
No, absolutely.
And kumbaya. But it's just serving the guests and
at the end of the day, we're supposed
it's just food, brother.
it's just food, but we're all supposed to be one team.
Yes.
And work together. There's always a rift between the front and the back. It's just two completely separate jobs. That if you don't work both sides, you'll never understand each other completely. It's like, goddamn, Republicans and Democrats. You need both sides to run efficiently. You can't be too far one way or the other. The goal is to be unified.
Okay.
I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about, I guess the restaurant politics. But it goes without saying.
Completely.
My opinion is, leave your emotions at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Come into work. Be a team. stop fucking working against each other, and things will run a lot smoother.
Boom.
Who do you think would make a better? Would a cook make a better server, or would a server make a better cook?
That's a good question. I think at least, and a lot of personality has to come with it. You know, a lot of cooks don't have the personality for the front, but I would say at least short term, the cooks would have an easier time. I don't know if this is biased because I mostly work in the back, but I would think it's easier for a cook to go out in the front because they know the food. They can explain it to the guest. However, they're usually more short-tempered and maybe don't.
Yeah, so for as far as the knowledge of the food and the questions, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
We've had people that we've even know that over the years have came from the back of the house and moved to the front.
They're phenomenal servers.
And they're phenomenal servers.
Right.
But like you said, there's also there's with a lot of cooks, that's why they choose that cook like this.
Right.
They're not good at the sales part of it where it comes to the people aspect.
Right.
And that's why they chill in the kitchen.
I'm not even sure if it's they're not good. It was a choice for me. When I worked in the kitchen, I did not want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to deal with
You didn't want to be bothered.
I didn't want to talk to... I couldn't see myself doing it. I didn't want to. I still, in a sense, am that same person, but it's just, a different outcome, so that's why I choose to...
For me personally, I mean, it's easy for me to talk to people.
Yeah. Well, you're already leading the ship, so of course it's going to be a little easier for you.
Right. So, like, when I'm back there, I'm like, oh, fuck the fucking guy that wanted broccolini instead of asparagus. Or something stupid like that. But then, like, I'll go out and talk to the same customer, and my attitude completely changes from that back of the house. I open the door of the front of the house, and it's like, it's just automatic. I don't have to think about doing it. It just happens.
Yeah.
It's the theater that we put on.
Absolutely.
Though, right?
Maybe it is theater for me, but at least it seems genuine from my perspective if I go to talk to a customer. It's usually not for something bad.
Yeah.
But you know how Jay, front house manager, they're having a bad time, he'll like comp something, or so I'm against comps, but then I'll go out there if they have a bad time. I'll tell Jay to comp their whole meal. Yeah, it's easier to say fuck the guests when they're not in front of you. It's exactly what you're saying.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. That's the thing. So for me, just clarifying the whole theater thing, it's genuine when it's like one or two people.
Yes.
To me, it's
Good
not
point.
genuine when I have to serve everyone that comes in the station. I mean, in my section, for whatever reason, they're there for and stuff. Oh, happy birthday. I don't care about your birthday, but I act like I care about your birthday. I want to make it special for you because it's a part of the theater, It's like I'm in the Mickey Mouse costume.
Yeah.
But inside, I'm like,
Well, you can't please everybody, and the more people you try to please and appease to, like I said earlier, the more people you end up failing.
That's cynical.
That was a little strong.
It's true because you can only keep up with that for a certain amount of guests doing everything they want.
I think the key is you got to have, like you said, just structure. If people are doing too much, if there's too many special requests, if there's too much stuff going on that throws off your menu and messes with the final result of it being consistent.
Right.
Consistency is what sells. If
Right.
you're consistent and you're able to be consistent, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
That's how the machine runs and it flows the way it's supposed to flow. Like how you wrote the menu or whatever what you put out there was made a certain way and it should come out that way every time.
Right.
Now, when somebody destroys that and it throws off, and from what you're telling me, where you guys don't have people reading different things, you don't even have that ability. So now you're yelling, they're throwing things off, and it's going to be a lot more tension in the back. Mm-hmm. So, of course, you're going to be like, man, fuck that person. And I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it does need to be, if everybody's on the same page, then you don't have to worry about that one guest who's being a pain in the ass because it becomes one guest. Because you'd be like, yo, then your service people will shut them down. Like, yo, we do this for a reason. It is done like this for a reason. This is why you can't have it. I'm sorry. Pick something else.
Right.
We have a lot of tryhards at the job.
You try to go with what you said to the guests as nicely as possible, but sometimes they're stubborn or whatever.
Oh yeah, and people are gonna be people. I understand that 100%.
It's that's why I go back to the theater, because it's some of it. You know, I struggle with it. You know, because the guests are there and they don't care. They just want what they want, how they want it.
They're like kids. They're going to try to get away with what they can get away with until you shut them down.
And I find that you should have a way of doing that. You really should.
Absolutely.
And then the balance then comes when they know that they can get away with it, and then they bypass you, or they are going to bypass you, and you're like, okay, fuck it. Because once they bypass you, now you're no longer aligned with them. Now you're just, you know.
Now they're the enemy.
Now you're just some guy that didn't want to do it. I remember I worked with you, and, well, not with you, but at the old spot, and a person came in and they wanted XYZ. And I said, you know, I told the line. I said, oh, this is what we can do, blah, 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 blah. And they got upset. Then they called the manager over. And I was arguing with the manager. I was like, okay, this is above and beyond. Like, you really put me in a bad situation here.
Yeah.
And so the manager did it. And then the guest literally told me that I could have done it. I just didn't want to help them.
Some people are just...
And I said, listen.
Well, that manager was wrong.
Certain
Your manager
that,
should have told them right away that he doesn't have the power to do that. He was doing exactly what he was told to do. I am here to fix it for you because that's my job as management, to go above and beyond for you.
I agree with that.
It's different. I mean, it was at that point.
I mean, I'm not arguing. I'm saying that's that's how the manager should have explained the situation, because you don't have that kind of power. You are a server. You're part of the cog. Okay, they have the ability to go to the kitchen and speak to the chef. Not that you don't, but the same across.
Well, I don't.
It's above your pay grade.
Listen, you guys come and talk to me about whatever the table wants, but if a manager comes and talks to me, it's more of a priority to. I mean, sometimes I'll tell the manager, no, I can't do that.
Absolutely.
And I'll even get into a goddamn argument with the manager because there's just some things you can't do, or it's not goddamn feasible,
it's not feasible
to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, like I said, if the manager comes back and says, hey, these guests are fucking pissed off, or we're trying to save this table, I tend to listen to the manager. Naturally more than
But that's the
servers.
way it's supposed to work. That's the natural flow of the restaurant. The manager wouldn't have got involved if it wasn't already escalated. You know what I mean? So that's what their job is for.
I agree. I have a couple of would you rather type questions before.
Let's lighten it up.
Before that, because we never went back to the servers going back to the kitchen. And
okay,
let it out. Talk to me.
So I will admit that a lot of you guys aren't saying, "Oh, it's only cooking. I could do it easily." However, I've worked in a lot of kitchens where a lot of ignorant people think that's all it is. But the normal server without the cooking experience that can even say, "Oh, well, I cook at home." Cooking in a professional kitchen is a completely different animal.
Light years different.
So different. And, I mean, I'll just add that now you're, at least in a position like me, now you're managing people, and other than just cooking. And that's just one more aspect. But let's just say you're doing a line cook, front of the house to line cook. There's so many techniques that... There's a goddamn fly in front of my face. Sorry. There's so many techniques that you have to learn and be consistent with, like almost everyday practicing to get down. I mean, if you have to go back there and ask me how to cut an onion, I'm going to tell you get the fuck out. Unless I hate you enough to where I'll watch you fail, and maybe I could then fire you.
I agree with your answer. So the question being, would a cook make a better server, or a server make a better cook? I look at the answer in the result. You're 100% correct, knowing that a cook knows the food, the what goes into it, how it's made, and can describe it to the guest. may or may not thrive in the people aspect of it. But I think going the other way around, it's more detrimental, the failure.
Oh, yeah.
If a
Right.
server goes back to the kitchen, I think ticket times would be horrible.
Oh my god! I could just
Right?
imagine like Ralph going back there and cooking, and then you guys starting to give him shit, and I just wonder what would happen.
There's a lot of moving parts to
Oh, yeah.
assemble a plate from start to finish, and that's just one plate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to have the temperament to be on the line, I think a lot of servers would be missing that temperament to keep it all together, all like,
A lot of people would lose their damn mind. They lose their damn mind. Let's just say that this is like a version of hell, and you're stuck in it. Like you can't just
Like Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you can't just throw down the towel and leave because you're upset.
and
You would lose your damn mind.
the tickets are there.
Yeah,
The tickets are coming.
they're coming.
And coming and coming. Would you rather create a dish with the most expensive ingredients or the most unusual ingredients?
I think I would go with most unusual.
Okay. I could see that.
That's just my cooking style. I love cooking with things I've never even seen before and trying to sell it the first time. I mean, I think it's important to not be afraid to fail because you will fail. It's depending on how you react to your failure, if you progress or degress. So you can either take people's criticisms and get scared and run away, or you could use that as your fuel to get better.
Wow.
And I'll relate that to my cello playing. The first 2 years of me playing cello, there's no frets on it. You have to be very precise on where you put your fingers. And if you're just learning a non-fretted instrument, those first 2 years are rough. You're not going to sound good. Now you're in front of your friend trying to show him your new little cello song or whatever, and he tells you, man, you suck. Put that thing down. It's been 2 years. You still sound like shit. Why are you playing that thing? You play guitar great. Put that thing down. At that point, you could either put it down and listen to your friend, or you could keep going and become like Yo-Yo Ma, which is a great cellist.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like things getting me down. I like using things as motivation to move forward.
Boom.
That being said, it's fun to play with the expensive ingredients, but I think I would have more fun playing with unusual ingredients personally.
Okay. Would you rather give up pasta or give up pizza?
Pasta is definitely easier to work with. They're both very versatile dishes where you can kind of just put anything in it and more or less.
Mm-hmm.
On the fly, I'll say pasta. And I'll tell you that because I'm not so experienced in working with doughs yet. I work with doughs and I'm more experienced doing fresh pasta doughs. I can't even goddamn open a pizza. Yeah. However, pizza doesn't have to be a dough that you create. You could buy some French bread and make a badass French
True.
bread pizza.
Would you rather lose your sense of taste or your sense of smell?
They're so almost the same thing. Probably I lose my sense of smell, but then that would affect your sense of taste.
He's right.
That is true.
But let's just say you completely keep your taste or smell, losing one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather lose my sense of smell, I suppose.
Would you give up onions or give up garlic?
Fuck you. If I had to choose, I'd rather give up onions. Garlic's more flavor, and just so everybody...
That's just mean. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
much?
just so everybody knows.
Hey, you need the two.
Garlic is an onion, so I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But really, I guess I'm not
you need
giving up.
onions.
They're both bulbs.
Yes.
I don't know if garlic's an onion.
It's in the onion family.
Okay.
Yeah, garlic is more easy to play with. Flavor-wise, cleaning it, breaking it down, cutting it up, I fucking hate doing that shit. It's easier to cut an onion.
All right, one last one. If you can eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Macaroni and cheese.
Oh, my man. I'm in with you.
But it's usually a hard question for like a chef to answer. What's one food that you would eat?
Yeah.
But
Mac and cheese
goddamn,
is
mac
good.
and cheese, man.
Love it.
Love it.
You grow up on that stuff. At least Americans do.
I'll make you some of my mac and cheese. And thank you so much for joining us. And,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing our frustrations and
BLM.
story to come. We do this for you each and every week. We're truly grateful for you. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter.
I'm Danny Villain. Subscribe, people.
We will see you next week.
Later.
See you guys.